Freaka TV, Freak Up Studio, live. 2021 GSL SuperTournament, Season 3.
Hey everybody, welcome back to GSL SuperTournament. I am Artosis, joined once again by State. How are you doing? How have you been liking the tournament? What's going on?
I'm doing great. This has been a fantastic Super Tournament. We got two of the best Terrans and Zergs in the world ready to face off here in the semifinals and finals. I'm feeling pretty giddy, man.
I know. It's been a great tournament thus far. And these two matches we have today, they definitely have some favorites in them. But anything could happen the way everyone's been playing, I think.
Absolutely. There's a case to be made for both dark horses in this matchup. I mean, Cure, he's coming off, like that matchup, Cure versus Rogue. On paper, I think a lot of fans will look at this and they think, well, Rogue is just so good. He's so consistent. He's probably going to take that win. But Cure, I mean, he's coming right off a GSL championship victory. He's been playing fantastic. Took down Trap 3-1, arguably the best Protoss player in the world. I mean, he's looking to be in great form.
He really is. He's looking very, very strong, but Rogue is Rogue. And then, of course, on the other side, Maru has been dominating absolutely everything in sight. But Solar hasn't lost a map yet in this tournament like Maru and has kind of revamped his style back into what he does best. So, yeah, it's a couple of very exciting matches. And, I mean, let's say that the two favorites win. Is there anything better than a Rogue Maru finals, truly?
No, not really.
Not really.
Rogue and Maru, I mean, they're two of the best players in the world, and I really like what you said about Solar, about him kind of having a shot in this one. He's more of an underdog even than Cure in this matchup. And
I would definitely say so.
I mean, people were probably expecting the 3-0 or 3-1 for Maru, but Solar, when he talked in that interview about kind of refining and reinventing himself and going back to being an aggressive Zerg, he hasn't dropped a map since then. He's been playing fantastically, you know?
It's a really good point. I have a ton to say about that, actually. I'm really excited to get into that match so that we can talk about that. But first, we have Cure going up against Rogue. And, of course, Cure, you know, he won that last GSL. He looked absolutely phenomenal. It was mostly off the back of his just dynamite Terran versus Protoss. And we saw that again already in this tournament where he just destroyed Trap, really. Like, Trap put up some good games, but overall, like, Cure just looked to be a level up.
His TVP seemed way better than Trap's PVT, which is saying a lot considering the skill that Trap has elevated himself to in this past year. And, honestly, I think he's got a good shot at this. He's shown that he can really bust out any kind of opening, any kind of build. He loves his Reapers. He loves his Hellbat Marine timings. He loves early Banshees. He has so many different ways of doing damage to you early. And in a tournament like Super Tournament, where there's not as much time to prep as GSL Code S, that kind of flexibility and versatility can be really dangerous.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. But going up against this guy, like, I think to beat Rogue in anything bigger than a best of 3, a lot of things have to go wrong for Rogue the entire series. Like, the whole series has to catch on fire for him.
Right.
Like, you know that meme of the dog with his coffee and the room is on fire? He's like, I'm fine. That's, like, if Rogue was sitting there with the room on fire, he actually still would be fine. Also, the building has to be falling down for him to actually lose a series that's best of 5 or best of 7. So
he's resilient. He is hard to kill.
Yeah, and like, if he can, like, stabilize at all, he just has, like, I think the best late game decision making, and just impeccable macro, micro, all that. So it's a tough one, but yeah, I agree with you. I think that Cure does have a shot here. He's in great shape.
Here we go. The map order here for match 1. Set 1 on Hardwire and set 2 on Berlingrad. These are two maps that we've actually seen Cure play Reaper all-ins. 3 Rex and 2 Rex proxy Reaper quite often before in the past. Interested to see if we get that in this series. Followed by 2000 Atmospheres, Blackbird, and Glittering Ashes if we go to a map 5.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see which styles they both want to bring out. You know, a lot of times in a match like this, I'll just pick one player and saying, like, oh, okay, like, what is Cure going to bring? But actually, Rogue is such a full-ranged player and has so much wild stuff that he pulls out in Zerg vs. Terran as well.
His preparation is immaculate.
It really is. He's so strong in that regard. Well, we are just about ready, guys. Get out there, spread the word. GSL Super Tournament Finals is on right now. We are going to finish this out today. and end the year in style here at GSL.
Absolutely. Here to kick it off is Cure and Rogue. Set one on Hardwire. These players getting ready. Looking cool and collected. I think this is going to be a very close series.
Oh, I mean, I hope so. I don't want it to be one-sided one way or the other. I'd love to see this be a real battle going on. But here we go, guys. It is time for set one on Hardwire. Cure vs. Rogue.
Game
Let's go.
starts. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Cure. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Rogue.
All right. Little gas first opener here for Cure.
Not too gas, at least not yet. I was wondering if he was going to go back to that kind of early aggression that we've seen from him this year, because I feel like almost every time that I see Cure go for Reapers, his control has really gone to another level recently, and he's gotten so much damage done.
Yeah.
In the matches that he's gone for it.
Yeah, I think if he puts it at the right place in a series, it's like very, very powerful. And I would not mind to see some of that as well. You know, we were kind of talking before the show started as well. It really does feel like, as far as Korea goes, you know, Maru obviously top dog amongst Terrans, but I think Cure has clearly moved into second place.
Especially now. I mean, coming off a GSL Codas victory, and then he's here just a few months later in the semifinals of Super Tournament, looking to go back-to-back, so to speak.
That would be big.
It would be very big.
Like,
it would make a good case for him rivaling Maru for that top one spot, at least in terms of form.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially here, offline. We actually do have an audience as well. The Super Tournament Finals did sell out, which is pretty sick.
Killing that cleaning bot. We've seen those cleaning bots cause problems for players so far in this tournament.
Yeah.
A little more than you might expect. But yeah, everything just kind of shaping up to be a normal ZVT opening. No, no wrenches being thrown in either of these guys' builds that early.
What have you ever had like strong feelings one way or another about critters on a map when you were a pro gamer?
Only when they really annoy me.
Yeah.
Like if you go to build your natural expansion, it's right there in the minute and just right there in the middle. And it delays it by like 1 or 2 seconds. That's frustrating. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not one of those pro gamers that like will go around the map killing every critter. We've seen some people do that.
Yeah. But
I don't mind.
I think maybe once every 2 months a Kakaru flies in my base and I have my heart jumps in my throat.
You
that
think it's a
mutas are here.
At like,
I'm like
2 minutes in.
But Overlord speed on the way very, very, very quickly here.
Oh,
from
good
Rogue.
catch.
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting thing, and it is something that we see from Rogue sometimes, where he will just have these series where he just wants to get the scouting done immediately. He wants to know exactly what his opponent is doing. And because this is actually a quick starport with the add-on, this is going to be a good scout, right? Like, I think if you are going Overlord speed and your opponent, you fly in and you see like a third command center, you're like, damn, like this is not what I want, you know. Like
you want to find a way to kind of be able to counter whatever strategy your opponent is going for, and these Hellions are going to come in, try and find some damage, but Rogue is well prepared for this. Queen on the ramp, blocking any entry, just some lings going down, and
yeah, very great defense. I mean, losing a few lings, but kills off 2 of the Hellions, damages the other ones as well.
And he did get that scout off. He's going to know that Cloak Banshees are on the way, and actually Viking going to be starting up first to kind of clear out those Overlords.
Yeah, I think that's a good play there from Cure, a good way to bend his build around. It'll be interesting to see if he actually goes Banshees after this.
I think he might. It's tough to say. He could just cancel this as soon as the Overlord dies. And
yeah, he might cancel the Cloak as well. It's hard to say, right? Like, if they know it's coming. It's not that it's not useful, but...
Oh, actually a really nice catch here. This is more damage than you might expect to find after the first Hellion run by was so easily deflected. 4 drones is not a lot to scoff at. I mean, that's a nice catch, especially going into Banshee.
For sure. Now, third command center coming up right there in the wall. As you see, Stim gets started as well. The Hellion's going to continue to roam back and forth. Lots of drones being created. And Rogue happy to just sit here and try to build his economy and block these Hellions from doing any more damage.
If he can avoid any more damage from these Hellions, and if he is well prepared for these Banshees, which I think Spores should be going down pretty soon. I'm actually surprised that we don't see any on the map yet. He might have mind-gamed himself a little bit into thinking that maybe Cure was going to cancel Cloak or something after getting scouted. I think we might only have one Spore in production on the field.
Yeah, that makes me a bit nervous. If he doesn't have one at the third and at the main, I could see this going pretty poorly. Okay, he starts one at the third, and he has 2 under production, so I believe that's going to be 1 at each base now. Although I
think you're right about that.
Okay, so yeah, he has that one in the main, really important. But obviously, we're still going to see some drone death.
A little bit painful there, getting 3 drone kills, almost a 4th, but gets into the extractor. Always love it when that happens.
little bit of a miss micro there from Cure momentarily, but not the end of the world.
I mean, seven drone kills so far from these Hellions, and she's going up to 8 now is pretty good damage. I mean,
yeah, this is not bad. Like, I think you've got to be happy with this against Cure. I mean, against Rogue, right?
Absolutely.
Like, the type of level that Rogue brings to the game. To get the, like, it's like 10 drone kills so far, approximately?
I think so. I think 10 exactly. Any kind of damage that you can really get early on against Rogue to kind of prevent him from snowballing into that mid game is critical, because I feel like if Rogue wants to beat Cure in a macro game, I mean, Cure is just such a well-rounded player right now. I feel like his game plan, Rogue's that is, really has to be about minimizing damage to kind of get up to that Ling, Bling, possibly even Hydra style that we see from him so often.
Yeah. There is a drop Overlord on the way, which I find very, very interesting. Not something that I really expected right now. And look where it is, in the very top left of the map. So maybe this is going to be just a very sneaky, like, Baneling drop. In fact, 2 drop lords. Okay, so he's got one on each side. It looks like maybe a double timed out Baneling drop going to be coming up.
That's certainly what it looks like to me. I'm actually not too sure on the math for Baneling drops against SCVs. I know they have more hit points than probes, but looking to get a little bit of damage done there. In the meantime, Cure's setting up for some aggression of him on his own. I mean, he's got 6 Hellions here. A lot of Cimmerines. And that's some Queens going down early, and these are not speed Baneling.
Yeah, that was not the greatest pathing there on the Queen. So losing 2 right off the bat. The Hellions come up and do get picked off. He forces a lift, but losing those few Queens, not bad.
That's a pretty good pickup there for Cure, especially before those upgrades get completed. I mean, getting any kind of damage done before you get 1-1 and combat shields is always critical. And here we go, Baneling drops coming in as Cure is microing here on the front. Will he notice this in the back? Maybe not. Oh, there's actually nothing in him. It's a fake.
They're both fakes.
I even got faked out there. My goodness.
Yeah. But look at him not move his SCVs. Like
there we go.
Okay, that one moves. I guess the other one flying over the third, you're like, nah. The main one, though, you got to give it some credit. What a mind game that would be to have 1 empty and 1 full.
Oh, that would be sick.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Cure pushing up again over here. Not quite trading as effectively as he did the first time. Of course, we do have Baneling Speed and Hydralisks out on the field now. So a little easier to deflect there for Rogue.
And look at this, okay? So the Lingbane Hydra going to be going up against... Okay, there is a siege tank being made, but he's also getting Drilling Claws, which is kind of interesting. Like, it's never bad, I think, to get Drilling Claws. But I want to see if he's going to go heavy siege tank against this, or we're going to see him try to go, like, mines at this point, which is, I think, a little bit harder to do, but sometimes you see from top Terrans.
He does have that factory with a reactor on it right now, so I think mines probably is the game plan here as he pokes and prods a little bit more here at the front, but that is a... Oh, wow, that was an insane hit. He got a lot of Banes with that, my goodness.
Look at him keep this creep back from this little area right here. The Hydra's having such a hard time actually getting up there. So some very nice micro coming out of Cure, keeping the pressure on this side. Another siege tank on the way, while Rogue goes up to that Lurker Den, Burrow, and Hive.
Delaying that creep spread is really critical for Cure as well if he wants to set up for any kind of timing with these siege tanks and Widow Mines, because the further that creep gets on, it's hard to split against Banelings on creep. I mean, it's hard enough when they're off creep with speed, but if that creep is right below your Marines, I mean, you're in trouble more often than not. So doing good pressure there, keeping that creep spread back. You see it's just kind of just the hatchery that's really keeping it here in the front. I mean, Rogue's trying to throw some more tumors down, but having that stalled is quite a big deal if Cure does decide to go for a timing.
Yeah, very nicely done in that regard. The new command center is, of course, on the way there. As we saw the Siege Tank going to just blow up those veins, trying to come in for some harassment. Cure continuing to clear quite a bit. Going to go ahead and lift up some decent mine connections in there as well.
Yeah, for the amount of mines that he has in these forces, he's getting really solid hits.
Yeah, and it's interesting how he's going 1 factory tanks and then some mines supplementing that as well. We actually don't see that very often. Normally you choose one or the other, like either going mass tanks or mass mines against this comp.
Right. In the meantime, just trying to find any damage, really. These Marines going to get pushed back quite quickly, but again, here we go. Come in once again, make sure that creep spread isn't too far out. Ling and Banelings come back in, and you just pop on out of there. I mean, this is really smart play by Cure, kind of keeping Rogue's creep spread contained, which is honestly makes me think that he might be leading up to a timing right there at that 4th base. It's just been such a focal point for his game plan up until now.
But look at this. They're both really completing their tech trees here, right? Like, we see the Ghost Academy coming up. +3 started, but then also on the other side, Vipers, Lurkers, Lurker upgrades, and a Nidus.
We've seen a lot of Nidus Lurker play from Rogue, and I love it, frankly. When it gets damage done, Cloak Lurkers are so difficult to deal with, especially with a small number of units in your main base or at an expansion, so...
I gotta say, that Viking we just saw pick off the Overlord,
it's been getting a lot of value.
Yeah, and that's kind of a brilliant location as well. Even seeing that Overlord go in, it's not like he's wondering, oh, is he switching tech? No.
Oh, that's an excellent point.
It's very,
I hadn't considered that.
Yeah, as long as Cure caught that with his eyes, which I'm sure he did, you got to look at that and say, okay, Nidus is on the board right now.
Fantastic point. In the meantime, we got some Lurkers actually trying to push up here to the natural. Barely out of range of that Siege Tank right now. And Nidusing into the main base as well, so Rogue really trying to get some damage done and exert some pressure here on Cure.
He's not going to get that one up, but a lot of times what happens at this point is Rogue will just consistently, I mean, he's got 90 drones. It doesn't cost that much. He can throw down Niduses nonstop and just look for an area where it's going to end up working.
That's exactly what we're seeing right now as another one goes down there all the way to the southeast, and these Vipers just kind of roaming the map in the meantime. Getting vision for that Nidus, and kind of curious about where Cure is going to go from here, because once Rogue has a full tech tree with Nidus on the map and Lurkers kind of all around, it becomes really tricky to move out and really exert any kind of force on the map.
Yeah, and his composition doesn't play against this that well. Look, he's got 57 Marines, 8 Ghosts, 3 tanks. That's not really an anti-Lurker force. Like, some players we see will go, like, lots of Siege tanks. We've seen people really try to mix in quite a few Liberators. Obviously, you're going to want a lot of Ghosts in there as well. But I'm very interested to see where Cure wants to go tech-wise.
Oh, there we go. Some snipes off on those Lurkers and Overseers. Yeah, quite nice. Oh, that's a big attack coming over here. Getting a lot of Marines. Those connections were insane. I can't believe Cure didn't bring back his Marines there. It must have been focused on these Lurkers down here in the south. That was a pretty incredible hit there for Rogue. That was a lot of supply going down.
Really kind of focusing elsewhere, I guess. 3 Overlords flying in to make sure they get the Nidus down, even against double Viking. The new meta, man. More and more Vikings, more and more Overlords trying to fly in. I want to see it.
Oh, and Lurkers picking off Ghosts is not what you really want to see there as a Terran. Rogue really playing a great game right now. I mean, the mid game, it was a little bit scary losing those 10 drones early and then getting kind of his creep spread contained, but he's kind of swung this around and he's snowballed quite effectively. These Lurkers are proving to be so problematic for Cure right now. I mean, the Ghosts are able to get some snipes off. I mean, 2 Lurkers is quite a bit of resources going down there, but again, sitting on 90 workers.
Now, the one thing I do want to point out for Cure, he's maxed out, and Rogue doesn't have a giant bank yet. Against a lot of players, Rogue would already be at like 5K bank, right? So Cure has been basically keeping up, but look at the mini-map. Look at how many bases Rogue has actually taken. So there's definitely some pressure still here for Cure because, like you said, Rogue has everything. Like, he's finishing up his upgrades right now. And he's got like all the tools he needs, the stuff he's really good with. It's on the map right now.
And eventually, with all those bases, he'll be able to throw down a lot more extractors and really gear up the gas bank, because, I mean, this army he's got right now, it's so expensive. There's so many Banelings and Vipers, and here we go, coming in right now. Blinding Cloud on the siege tank.
Yeah, the parasitic bombs as well, just gonna whittle down these medevacs.
This flank though by Cure, that's a really great surround, man. Rogue, that fight was looking pretty good there at the beginning, but maybe not anticipating that flank there by Cure, and Cure ends up trading pretty cost efficiently there.
Yeah, he did a better job with that than I thought, and I gotta say I love that Blinding Cloud as well on the siege tank. Like, that was such a well-placed siege tank, but just completely nullified for most of that attack.
One thing I am curious about with Rogue is when he is going to throw down those extra extractors, though, because as you said, his bank isn't really where he wants it to be right now. And I mean, look at him; he's got 40 gas in the bank and 1,400 minerals. And if he wants to replenish Lurkers, Hydras, or Banelings on any kind of remax, he's going to need way more gas. It's really curious to me that we're just seeing those extractors delayed so significantly. I guess.
Well, I think he's got this slight tempo advantage right now. He's trying to push it. I don't know if he's going to be able to, though, right? Like, Cure is really on top of the defense. The attacks from Rogue aren't doing all that much. Now, Rogue has made a ton of Banelings. He has a lot of Lings, a lot of Banes, and then just some Lurker Viper to fill that out alongside his almost 100 drones. So, like, his attacks have a lot of potential, but also can be shut down quite a bit.
Especially now that we're getting more Marauders and Ghost mixed in. He's actually just going to go for these SEVs and Planetary. Always fun seeing Banelings kind of rolling in on command centers and actually getting a lot of workers there. My goodness, we're getting Cure all the way down to 50 workers.
Yeah, man, he's not done either.
Oh, these siege tanks! Zerger's just melting them.
Yeah, that was pretty darn good.
That was a nice attack.
Yeah, he's having a hard time. I mean, when they roll in with that many Banes against your Planetary, unless you have a lot of mines or siege tanks or something there, that is going to blow up. And losing that many SCVs, you can see the actual income over doubled for Rogue over Cure.
Yeah, 4,500 mineral income right now is pretty nuts. That's an absurd economy. I mean, he's taken more than half the map at this point.
Yeah, and he's continuing to push down. He's keeping the pressure on. He's just kind of running from side to side. And we just don't see Cure active anywhere right now.
It's kind of tough for him to be active with all these Niduses on the map, but these Lurkers kind of setting up these little tiny outposts, almost soft contains in a way. And here we go, Rogue moving in again. Really great blinding counts there. The Banelings are rolling in on the bio, Lurkers in the back. Pretty effective trades here for Rogue, I gotta say. I mean, Cure not gonna be down and out with this fight, but when you have this kind of economy that Rogue does, you're happy to trade even evenly, because your bank, your remax is gonna be so much more effective. I mean, Cure right now, he's kind of starved. 157 supply and less than 600 resources in the bank. He's got to make something happen.
Yeah, the amount more of income that Rogue has, like, he really can trade at a bit of a deficit. So Cure is pretty hard pressed right now. He does nail that hatchery, but that was not a part of the economy. That's like Rogue looking towards the future and keeping pressure on with that forward hatch.
Right. Meantime, these Zerglings get another pretty successful run by in right now. I mean, Cure is really strapped for cash. Anytime you lose more SCVs here, it's tough. And if you're Cure right now, you got to be kind of thinking about how to secure another base. I mean, these command centers, all these mineral patches, they're getting mined out rather quickly. This is really a tough spot to be in. And here we go, 4 more Overlords coming in for a Nidus.
Let's go.
Surprised we're not actually seeing any turrets over there. And wow, even 2 Nidus canals going up.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. But
this is going to get mopped up again, but I mean,
he has these units just popping out, so it's all good.
Oh, those are some pretty nice snipes going off, though.
Yeah, really, really nice there. Let's throw out a couple more parasitic bombs here, trying to reduce that medevac count, and gonna succeed.
These trades, I mean, they're not overwhelmingly in the advantage of Rogue. I mean, this one cost efficiently probably going the way of Cure, but anytime when you have this kind of bank, this kind of economy, we've said it earlier, it's any trades like that, as long as you can remax, as long as you retain that bank, it is effective, because your goal is to starve the Terran player out. And it's been maybe like 5 minutes since Cure's really been able to take any new expansions.
Yeah, while Rogue continues to just suck out so many resources from the map. Of course, you know, Rogue will mine out his side quicker than Cure will, so
That is
maybe if Cure just maintains, you know, there'll be a chance here, because certainly this game doesn't look like one where Cure can do any sort of push, any sort of real attack.
And at the same time, it does seem like it would be pretty difficult for Rogue to really end the game at this point as well. I mean, especially considering that Rogue is maxed, but he has 95 drones, so that's only about 105 armor supply.
Yeah.
Whereas Cure is approaching max on less than 60 SCVs. That's a pretty powerful Terran army.
Yeah, that is for sure. Setting up some of these Liberators here as well. A bunch of Lings just roll in. Look at that, the Baneling's waiting for a landed command center. I love it. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see the plans of Rogue, right? As Cure, and you can see how he's trying to fight against that. I like the missile turret plus Liberator defense. It's not like an end-all defense here against so many Lings and Banes, but it does make this less and less efficient each time he comes in.
And that's actually a really cost-efficient deflection there. I mean, Rogue is going to use that to snipe yet another command center over here, the old fourth base for Cure, but Cure is taking quite efficient trades now. I mean, this is starting to swing in his favor a little bit as Rogue's gas bank continues to deplete. I really wouldn't mind seeing a couple more extractors go down for Rogue right now. I know that he wants to remax on Lings and continue these run-bys, but I am a little concerned.
Yeah, well, he's got 4.5K. It would make sense to get a little bit more gas right now. I would definitely agree with you on that. And that has been where he's been a little bit low overall. With the Lurkers there. Able to kill off some of these ghosts.
Lose some 6 rounds with those Zerglings. I mean, I guess this is kind of what the plan is, though, with this mineral-heavy composition, is you can make so many Zerglings like this and kind of overwhelm the smaller amount of bio, because a lot of that supply for Cure, it's getting invested in things like Liberators and Medivacs and Siege Tanks, and if you can get big surrounds with your Lings and one Nidus going off in the main.
Oh, no.
I mean,
oh, well, he'll clean it.
Yeah. For a second, I thought this one might actually get up.
Yeah.
I mean, it only takes one to cause pretty devastating damage. It's really
if he loses
tough.
his production, the game will end. Like, he can't really replace that at this point. He's barely scraping by keeping an army together.
50 supply elite again for Rogue now. It really goes to show that this economy can afford to make pretty much any trade work.
Look at this. I mean, you're trying to be as efficient as is possible, but even just Ling Hydra walking forward, taking out planetaries and everything else. A ton of Banelings coming in now.
That's a lot of Bane.
Oh boy, no real splash to deal with that right now either. Okay, well, that's not the most efficient from Rogue, but look at the supply of Cure and how low it's getting now.
Cure just can't really afford to rebuild any of these units. Pretty much every single trade, I want to say, that's happened in the past couple of minutes.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, 6,000 more gas efficient and
almost double the minerals,
like,
50K to 30K.
Yeah, that's pretty insane how efficient Cure has been, but this kind of like tempo-based play from Rogue, you can see how powerful it is.
Just mine.
He's so good at it.
Mine all the resources, play with 100 drones, your army's not going to be as big, but as long as you're doing damage and denying bases for the Terran, what does it matter? They're going to mine out.
He's keeping them just enough on the back foot that Cure cannot stabilize. GG. I mean, that was masterfully done from Rogue. I think that Cure put out an excellent game, but this is why Rogue is so scary, that he can trade that inefficiently and be completely fine.
That was quite wild.
I can't even believe, like, that's one of the biggest spreads in cost efficiency
I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, that I've ever seen in a victory.
Yeah, you see those
God.
losses quite often, but to have it go to the victor, really fast-paced, high-tempo play there from Rogue. Loving to see it. I mean, Cure, he was, to his credit, he was taking pretty much every single fight cost efficiently. He was sniping Lurkers, Liberator placement was fantastic, but something has to happen if he wants to play that style against Rogue. He needs to be able to play with more tempo. He needs to take more bases. And I mean, the boon for that there for Rogue as well is, hold that thought, we're going to go into set 2 here on Berlingrad, really just wasting no time here. Let's do it.
Start. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Cure. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Rogue.
Really just so much to say about that match and that play style, you know?
Well, I mean, Rogue is so good at that, and it can be something that's hard to play as well, right? Like, you got to be quick, you got to be all over the place, because if you start to slow down a little bit, that cost efficiency of Terran is really going to end up costing you. But just fantastically well done.
Love that cheerful. Very cute.
Yeah, thank you for coming down, guys. Appreciate everyone who came to the studio here.
So nice to have an audience again.
It is indeed. It's it feels so much more exciting. There's like more energy in here.
Absolutely. We're gonna see 2 racks. Reaper. I wonder if we're gonna see a 3rd one here from Cure. I mean, these are 2 maps, Berlingrad and the one that we saw before, that Cure has been able to make really aggressive Reaper play in the early game work for him. And this is the kind of thing that, I mean, Rogue's got to be feeling really good about that first map win. And if you're Cure in a best of X series, like a best of 5 here against Rogue, if you can take that wind out of his sails with a fast-paced win with Reapers, I mean, that's a big momentum shift, you know?
It would be. It would be, because it's like, yeah, he did beat you that game, but Rogue won't win that game every single time, you know? If you slip up and screw up a little bit too much, and, you know, things can start to switch around. But
it's a tough style to play.
Yeah. Tough to play against as well, I think. It has to be extremely frustrating, right? That you're being this cost efficient and you can't move because Rogue is so quick on his macro and his attacks.
And another issue that kind of compounds that problem is that if you let Zerg get to that point and they decide to go for that style and they play so aggressively, then suddenly you can't even really attack them because you need all of your supply at home defending all of these multi-prong attacks.
Yeah, yeah.
Really a conundrum, but first Reaper getting some damage done. Bruising these Lings quite a bit.
Yeah, we make 6 Lings here and has the Queen pop out now. Command Center is on the way back at home, and he is making another Reaper right now, but we've switched over to a Marine in the other barracks.
Yes, so not committing quite as hard as we've seen him do in the past, and yeah, I don't mind that too much.
Yeah, it can't just be utilized as pressure, right? Like, this doesn't have to be some sort of end-all, deal tons of damage type of opener.
Absolutely. I mean, really, the main thing that you want to accomplish here is kind of slow down the Zerg's tempo. I mean, we've seen so many Zerglings be made already because the Zerg on the back foot of this doesn't fully know how much is being committed on the Terran side of things.
Yeah.
They kind of have to prepare for every eventuality. So all those Lings, those could be drones. And these Reapers, once he goes into Hellions or any other kind of tech in the mid game, they will still have quite a bit of value in those early game skirmishes. So maybe this is kind of Cure trying to find a little bit more tempo in the early game to kind of keep Rogue contained. I like this adjustment from game number 1.
I do too. Like, just keep a little bit extra pressure on here in the early game. Like, we saw decent drone kills from the Hellion run by and the Banshees in game 1, about 10 drone kills total. Only ended up losing like 2 Hellions, so it was pretty efficient. But this is more of a like, there's a little bit more power in the push, right? Like, if he pops out 4 Hellions here, goes across with 4 Reaper, 4 Hellion, that's somewhat serious. And you can see Rogue right here just powering up on his Queens a little bit, realizing that that is the case.
3 Queens in production, so really powering up on them. And you're right. I mean, with 4 with 4 Reapers and a lot of Hellions, that's a lot of grenades that can displace Queens, can displace drones. You can find ways in that you might not be able to get into normally and get any kind of economic damage done. I mean, the game plan here for Cure, it really does seem to be kind of to handle the tempo from Rogue a little bit more than we saw in the previous match.
And you know what, with the 2 barracks, like, he's getting stim quickly. He has his starport up now, so we're definitely going to see Marine medevac. Like, I really like this opener. This is... It's like, it's powerful, it's quick, there's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of utility with this little set of units here to make something happen.
Even mixing in Widow Mines now as well, maybe get a play more aggressively in the mid game on the back foot of this. I do like this adjustment a lot.
Yeah, I think that this push, like, let's see how much it can get done, but we're basically defending as Rogue with, like, what's he have, 7 queens right now, 8 queens, and then, like, some lings? I think this is doable for some damage for Kier.
Especially going 2 Evo right now. That's a lot of resources invested in units that are not going to be ready to defend. And here we go, Terran coming in right now. That's a lot of bio.
Yeah, with the stim, doing a pretty good job. Now, Ling's coming up for a flank, but Kier pulls out very nicely here. The Marines getting a bit of extra damage. The Queens really putting on as much as they can. Now, he has picked off a lot of that creep spread as well.
But again, another cost-efficient trade here for Kier. I mean, only losing 1 Hellion and 4 Marines and the 1 Widowmine that came along with this push to trade out all of those Lings. This is pretty effective, especially besides to back this up with another timing. But meantime, 3rd CC going down. Failing this as well for Rogue.
Yeah, still pushing back a lot of this creep, getting as much as he can.
I think the main function of this force now, though, is just going to be kind of curtailing the creep spread of Rogue to set up for more mid-game aggression. And this army, it's hard to catch.
Yeah, well, Queens aren't going to do a very good job of that. And look, they're having to use transfusions. They're having to throw down more creep tumors because they just keep getting cleared. And this is going to allow Kier to just continue to keep that pressure on.
Right now, it's only a 10-worker advantage for Rogue as well. He has to keep making Lings to kind of be prepared for any eventuality here in the meantime. And
now, the one thing I want to say that I'm worried about for Kier is, you know, what you were saying before is like, oh, those 2 Evos, that's a lot of money put in. But look, 1-1 is going to be finishing, which means we actually have a very wide window where the Lings are going to be 2 upgrades on the Marines. And that is a gigantic difference.
Another poke coming in here by Kier. Not really able to get too much done anymore with this force. Once these siege tanks get set up, he might be able to make some kind of denial there on the 4th.
Yeah, I think there's a decent chance of it. We'll see if those 1-1 Lings are going to be enough.
That's a scary looking flank right now. I'm seeing all those Lings on the left side here, and my heart's skipping a beat here for all these siege tanks. And here we go, Rogue's coming in.
Yeah.
Those siege tanks immediately getting taken down, and Rogue's like, okay, that's the brunt of this force going.
And no more splash damage here to help deal with that. Baneling speed, though, still a little ways off. Some good micro coming out of Kier. Queen's pushing forward right now. Ling's coming up with those Banes.
Some very low Marines right now in terms of hit points, though, but really not the Baneling count that you might expect to be able to deal with this. He's going to try and get away. Rogue trying to get some kind of surround to catch these Lings for Baneling connections. Gets one of them. Good number of Marines going down there and able to deflect this attack. So saving that 4th base quite cost efficiently.
He's doing a good job. 1-1 finishing just now at the end of that attack. Definitely would have gone a lot better with that. Unfortunate for Kier, but you know, that's part of his build order. Delayed upgrades compared to Rogue. Now Rogue does have that Hydralisk Den once again. Interesting to see him go for that same style. It's actually like Lingbane Hydra is not as popular as it was.
No, it's not, but we've seen Rogue go for this kind of style a lot. Even in GSL games earlier in this year, I was kind of reading up a little bit on his ZBT in preparation for this match because I was anticipating it so much. And I mean, the way that he plays Ling Hydra Bane, it's so effective, especially setting up for that lurker late game. I mean, we saw how well that he did as those Banelings. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Dangerously close. I don't think Kier is aware of this yet.
He's certainly not. Rogue is just kind of biding his time with those Baneling landmines. Those might come in big later on. We'll see.
It's almost like he's trying to hurt him that way with all these Lings coming in.
By the way, he's still utilizing grenades in these Reapers. That's kind of cool. We're like almost 10 minutes in. You generally don't see anyone other than unutilized Reapers that long into the game.
Usually the Reapers, they go down with the Hellions, but if you try and get some kind of aggression done, it's kind of awkward to micro all these units with distinct abilities like the grenades. But Kier really trying to find any damage that he can right now. It's really been an uphill battle, though. I mean, we talked so much about how beautifully executed his early game strategy was, going from the Reapers into the Hellions, and then the Stim Marine push behind that. But to Rogue's credit, he's been able to deflect this pretty much perfectly, even picking off medevacs here, 4 Marines going down, and a 30 supply advantage now for Rogue with an upgrade lead is pretty significant.
Yeah, it is. I'm not counting Cure out yet, though. Like, he's still running around, he's still trying to get things done, but one of the main differences between this game and last is he just got his second factory with the second tech lab, and this is a more common counter against Lingbane Hydra, is to go pretty heavy into siege tanks
The splash
and try to make something happen there.
Right, the splash damage is way more consistent with the siege tanks, especially if you're able to set them up in some kind of defensive position to deny a base.
And look, Vipers are kind of far out, so if he nails a 2-2 timing attack here, maybe he can make something happen. It feels like the creep spread might be far enough out that Rogue will just be okay.
The creep spread's definitely very problematic.
Yeah, even though he worked really hard at keeping that back.
It's hard to contain. You have to be very persistent about it. I think Maru is maybe... Oh, man. There we go. One connection gets, I think, 5 or 6 Marines there. That's a pretty good trade.
Yeah, not bad.
Baneling landmines have to be like one of my favorite things in ZBT.
Just in general, it's such a cool feature in the game. All right, Hive is going to be finishing up here. It doesn't seem as if Cure is quite ready for an attack at 180 supply. He does have his 2-2 with 3-3 started right before Hive finishes, so at least he will get a heads up on those upgrades finally. Lurker upgrades starting, and of course there's those Niduses again.
Yeah, bread and butter for Rogue. This is the style that he makes work in ZBT, kind of unique to him. He is the best at this. And consider also how effective it was in game number 1 without any real Niduses popping off in a way that did damage. The potential for this kind of playstyle, if those Niduses, if even one of them pops off in a main base, is absurd considering how well it played out, even with no successful Nidus Canals in game number 1. And if you're Cure right now, you got to prep for that eventuality. I think we even saw some turrets going down across the map to try to deflect some of those overlords.
He actually just added a second Nidus as well, which might make a bit of a difference. Like if you pop down 2 the first time, because the first Nidus has like the best chance of working, right?
Right, and
but look, he's got his Vikings here again. He knows this is very good prep.
Vikings plus turrets this early.
Yeah.
He's really getting ready for this. And I mean, you kind of got to make that happen. If these Nidus Canals get up, but at the same time, his attention is deviated. Rogue's moving in with a lot of Banelings over here on the 4th base of Cure. That is way too many Banelings to deal with that small bio ball.
Oh, is he going to be able to save this planetary? He's very late to the repair, and he still saves it, though.
Yeah, the Baneling is kind of prioritizing the Terran army right there. Not really the best split. I think he definitely had the numbers to take down the planetary and a good number of the army there, but 130 Zerglings.
Did you see that? His supply dropped so low after that attack that he's like, I just saw it shoot right up to 200. It was like, what?
And 130 lings. Maybe that's why he wanted to go for so much bio, because if he ling floods right now, this could be pretty devastating with a much lower bio count, and that's kind of what it looks like he's gearing up to do. I mean, that is a really large Zerg army, and
my God,
they move so fast on creep.
130 lings instantaneously. He's like, you know,
47 Banelings.
Do it. Why not? God, Rogue is so crazy good.
I love this playstyle. Again, you see it. He's just taking all of the map. He's back up to over 50% of the bases on the map.
Yeah.
14 minutes in. Just absurd.
Yeah.
The tempo play that he has. Cure's opening, it seemed like, was kind of geared at trying to prevent this from happening, but...
Well, consistent pressure, you know, you'd think that this is going to help against someone who's just exploding their economy like that, but Rogue is so steady at holding things off and still gaining that economy slowly but surely. His defense has been immaculate. He's held on in every single way, never really taken significant damage.
And we're back in a situation where he can kind of trade inefficiently and have the bank to just remax. And all of these hatches, yeah, he's not mining efficiently out of all of these bases, but he is denying location. Hold that thought for a moment as a huge blinding cloud's going off. All of these siege tanks just taken out of the fight.
Dude, the amount of blinding clouds is so... Vipers are so crazy.
That was, what, 4 or 5 Vipers with like max energy just landing Blinding Clouds on everything. And once again, 108 Zerglings in production. We were talking about how Rogue kind of playing a really low gas style in game number 1 and how we were worried about it. But I mean, if you're remaxing on 100 Lings after every single engagement,
it's a good way to play. Dude, you're on 100 drones. Yeah, it can be a strong way to play. But the one thing I do like about this game a bit better for Cure is how siege tank heavy he is. If he can zone those Vipers out a little bit better, you see him bringing the Vikings to the front here. He's going to start adding some missile turrets. I'd love to see enhanced shockwaves. I'm not sure if he got that yet, but like if you can prevent these blinding clouds, I mean, 15 siege tanks make it hard for Lings to close. I say that, and then like Lings just running. He's like, I don't know, it's 100 Lings though. What about 100 Lings, Artos? I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, Rogue. Yeah, of course you can kill everything he has.
Even SimCity doesn't really alleviate the issue there because Rogue can just remax on so many Banelings as well.
Another 100 Lings in the production tab there.
I know eventually in this game we're going to see the units lost count again, and it's probably going to be wild. Yep, there we go.
20,000
immediately.
8,700. 20,000. That's over twice as many resources lost.
94 drones. How many bases is I can't even count this high. This is too many bases for me to count. I play Protoss. This is like beyond my level of understanding.
Dude, I know you only got 3 fingers. So how do you get that high? It's
here we go again. A lot of Banelings rolling in, more Blinding Clouds on the siege tanks, and Rogue just taking any trade he can get. He just rolls in, kills the command center.
Oh my god.
70 more Lings, adrenal glands in the production tab. I feel like Cure, if he wants to come back in this series, because this game is looking more and more like a Rogue victory. I mean, he's not out of it yet, but this is looking real scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're killing a base, he's not getting that many SCVs or anything, but it's hard to save these planetaries, right? You're trying to be efficient, but planetary can't lift off, unfortunately, so it just pops immediately.
It's like the same situation as last game. He's down to 4 bases. He's completely contained.
Yeah.
And anytime he tries to move out on the map and deny creep spread or apply any pressure, we have 50+ Zerglings just like this running into the Terran base. Maybe not trading efficiently, but they are picking off critical units. They're killing the siege tanks. The siege tank count, again, got reset.
Now, all this being said, Rogue doesn't have a bank, right? He's maxed, he keeps making 100 Lings, but he's, you know, he doesn't have that big bank yet. He does have ridiculous mining going on. Look at this, plus 4,000 on the minerals. Just insanity.
90+ drones will do that, and again, the small bank, it doesn't, I'm not too concerned about it as long as he continues to keep taking trades that are even remotely efficient and denying the Terran additional bases. I think right now the focus for Rogue is probably going to be on exerting pressure on this base right here that we see the Lurkers sieging a planetary fortress from, and this one here at the top.
Oh, that's painful. Lose that planetary right there as well. Oh, a nice little marine attack to that top right. I mean, killing off any base like this is super nice right now, but it looks like he gets there in time. Has to turn around.
Here we go, another attack coming in by Rogue. A lot of Banelings rolling in there on the left side as the Hydras are picking off a lot of medevacs actually, and siege tanks even getting yoinked over there in the north. Not the most cost-efficient trade for Rogue, but it's kind of par for the course with this play style we've seen from him, and a little bit scary now as he dips all the way down to 170 supply with only 1K in the bank. If Kira's going to make a move, I feel like now is the time.
What's the move? I feel like the only move is to kill the fringe bases and reset up. Like, he needs his income still. Okay, he's going after this one. This is really, really important that he gets his base.
He won't be able to take that down.
But look, okay, he saves the Marauder. It instantly makes the hatchery again. But yeah, I want to see him kill those bottom left bases as well if he can possibly muster it.
It's just so tough. Anytime that he moves out, I think the only reason he's really able to exert any pressure on that top right base is because that's where the armies are kind of situated. Here we go again, Rogue moving in with another attack. Really big blinding cloud there on the siege tank and the ghost. He's going to get 3 of those ghosts with that. Hydra's picking off everything, and suddenly we see Cure Supply dip all the way down to 120, 116. More Banelings and Lings coming in. Another ghost almost going down, but in the meantime, 17 SCVs. And Rogue, he doesn't have a bank, but doesn't matter when you're just mopping the floor with all these Terran armies. These trades, they're not cost efficient for Rogue, but he has the economy to support this. This insane high tempo 90+ drone style.
It's
It's so hard to keep up with.
Yeah, he just whittles you down, trading at less than half. He's trading
Almost
less than half as well as Cure is, but he's mining so much more. And then it's like the back just breaks eventually, where you can't refill anymore as Cure. Look how low his supply is. He was maintaining 150 plus the entire game, and now it's like, oh no.
Yep. All the way down to 120 supply, and here we go, another big attack coming in, and it's really just Ling and Bane that is completely overwhelming him. Immaculate play here from Rogue. Going into this series, I thought Cure might be the one exerting pressure, but Rogue, as soon as he gets into the mid game and he gets that ball rolling, he is an unstoppable force. I feel like we need to see some huge adjustments out of Cure if he's going to try and come back, because again, this is a best-of-5 series. We are only in the semifinals.
Yeah.
It's already match point.
I know. It's looking like a quick series here, unfortunately, for Cure. Rogue is on top of his game here tonight. I'm trying to figure out what Cure can really pull out, because he tried 2 different ways to keep lots of pressure on. He kept a lot of pressure in the second game. The first game he killed 10 drones without really taking too many losses, but Rogue the machine that is Rogue is so fearsome. When he casts like 8 blinding clouds and goes through 14 siege tanks with mass Ling to kill all your stuff, it's like, oh my god, how do you come back from that? He has 100 drones. How do you come back from that?
It's a tough battle. All right, here we go. What does Cure have in store for us? Set 3, 2,000 atmosphere.
Game starts. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Cure. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Rogue.
We did see Cure try to make some adjustments in Game 2 over Game 1. I like the double siege tank play as opposed to the Widow Mine. But I feel like his build has to play faster. It has to have a stronger mid game. Maybe even if you're sacrificing something in the early game pressure. Welcome to GSL.
All right. Terran Love. You're my people right there.
Hopefully you'll get some more Terran Love in Maru's series. It's been a little bit of a struggle here for Cure in the first 2 maps, but I mean, what
were you saying there? Like, you think Cure has to move faster?
I feel like his build, he has to start exerting pressure more in the mid game. Is I think the adjustment that he has to take. I don't know if that's going to be a timing push. I don't know if he wants to maybe even skip the siege tanks and play like Widow Mine and Marines, which is kind of a style that really only Maru is able to play very effectively. It's a tough style to do.
Against Ling, Bane, Hydra, I think like Marine Medevac Siege Tank is generally what people do, but it can't, like what you said, I've seen Maru do Marine Marauder Mine against it, and it seems so hard to do because the Hydras kind of don't care about the mine so much, so it's like pretty difficult. It's super high octane, but I think it is, technically doable.
I think the way you have to play that style, if you are going to play it, is you have to contain the creep spread. You cannot let speed banelings get anywhere close to your bio. And by containing the creep spread, you hope to eventually contain bases and just trade cost efficiently for long enough that you have kind of an overwhelming number where you can just go in there and kill the Zerg. That's what Maru does so well. It's kind of tough to make that stylistic adjustment, though, because it is a different skill set from playing Siege Tank Marine. There's a little bit of carryover, but at the very top level, it's not so easy to kind of change your game plan on a dime, especially in a best-of-5 series if you came into this kind of expecting 2-fact Siege Tank Mine or 2-fact Siege Tank to play. But I think something has to happen in the mid-game to keep Rogue from snowballing, because once he gets that Ling Bane Hydra composition with 90+ drones, I feel like the game is almost over. He is just so good at executing that play style. We're looking at those games, and it feels like there's nothing that Cure can really do.
Well, that game, I think specifically, if we were to like go back and take a look at it again, that moment where we saw, what was it, like 4 blinding clouds on all the tanks. He had 14 tanks, a couple liberators, some mines, planetaries, and a bunch of bio set up. And then the tanks just couldn't do anything. And then suddenly he was off balance for the rest of the game. So like, if you're gonna play that style, how do you stop something like that, right? Like, how do you, well, I guess this is one way, is you open up with a battlecruiser opener.
All right. I am glad to see something new here from Cure after the way the map 1 and map 2 went. Maybe this will kind of slow down the tempo of Rogue a little bit. But yeah, as you were saying, it is kind of reminiscent, at least for me. Of course, I'm relating everything to Protoss player to kind of PvT, and like getting your robo unit count reset in PvT is just devastating. And it kind of, your factory units kind of play the same role here in TvZ, whereas if you lose all of your siege tanks, they're not as expendable as Widow Mines.
Well, your cost efficiency is going to plummet, and that's where they're going to get you. Now, we actually have 8 roaches being made against a BC opener. So it looks like he's going to do an attack. This could turn into a very dirty game very quickly. Battlecruiser on the way. Obviously, battlecruisers can clean up stuff like this pretty well, but it takes a while to make.
The Roach's armor does kind of make that a little problematic. It's easier to take down the Ravagers, but yeah, I don't know.
Generally, if you can scout this really early, you'll go Banshee instead.
The damage
output cancels, or I think he's going to let the BC finish, because going into Banshee might keep you alive, but I think BC gives you an opportunity to win.
Maybe BC into Banshee or something like that.
Possibly.
Here. We'll see.
I think if he just like holds, gets the BC out, like this isn't going to have good BC defense at home.
He really wants the command center to finish. For that, SCV is going to get sniped again, and this hurts. Rogue getting some good damage done here. The command center will finish, but kind of a tough situation because you also really don't want to lift that off. Kind of a fundamental part of blocking out the Zerg army, at least not until those bunkers are done. And all right, the gates are open. All the Zerglings are coming in here. Some really big connections. 8 SCVs already going down. The BC is on the field, but the damage output right now for this Terran army is small to say the least. This is
it's a bit tough.
Quite
Rogue
devastating damage.
How deadly is this guy, seriously? It is ridiculous. Like, he kills you with 100 drones 2 games in a row, and then he just like kills you while you're going BC on the BC map. Look at these biles. Oh my god.
Yikes.
Yeah, Kier is kind of throwing his head back. GG. Wow, what a finish. Rogue just showing his unbelievable killer instinct. This is truly the greatest StarCraft 2 player ever. Like, anyone who says otherwise, like, what are you on?
That was immaculate.
He is, like, when Rogue is on, he is just unrivaled. Like, look at what he just did to the current GSL champion.
That was an obliteration. He just picked him apart.
He smacked him.
Piece by piece.
Just, yeah.
There was no moment it felt during this entire series, except maybe like in game number 1 when he got like 10 drones with the Banshees and the Hellions. Besides that, it felt like Rogue was leading every single game the entire time.
Yes, the entire time. Like, not letting up at all. And like, to go from 100 drone macro games into just killing your opponent instantly with the rush. There you have it. He goes to the finals, guys. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, another ZVT Solar versus Maru.